A very good evening all. I'm Vidyalaya with the Wednesday night edition of South Asian News, Vision of Asia. We are coming to you from our studio in New York City. Welcome to the show. Let's begin by taking a look at the coronavirus pandemic. Globally, we are looking at 68.5 million cases of the coronavirus with 1.56 million deaths. In the United States, we have now surpassed 15.3 million cases, and the death toll from COVID-19 in the US is 287,000 and counting. More than 2,000 deaths a day has now become a sad and a reoccurring situation, with yesterday reporting more than 215,000 new coronavirus cases and 2,500 deaths. There has been a 123% spike in 1 month. Hence, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, is urging Americans to avoid travel during the winter holidays and to not gather inside with family members who do not live in the same house. Experts and officials expect another surge of infections and hospitalizations following year-end holiday gatherings. Meanwhile, after months of intense research and widespread testing, vaccines for COVID-19 are getting a green light across the world. The UK has started vaccinating its citizens with the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine and is the first Western nation to provide COVID-19 shots outside clinical trials. Canada has also approved the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. Meanwhile, here in the US, the Food and Drug Administration could authorize vaccine for emergency use in the country by the end of this week. In politics and more, talks on the new stimulus package are coming down to the wire, with millions of Americans depending on expanded unemployment benefits, and the Congress is still yet to agree on a package. And President Donald Trump is still yet to concede and continues his legal battles, while President-elect Joe Biden continues to bring forth his cabinet picks and his agenda for his first 100 days after swearing in on January 20th. So where are we heading this and next month with surging coronavirus cases and a new incoming administration? We present tonight politicians, commentators, and Indian nonprofits focused on engaging more on South Asian Americans. Here are the headlines. Veteran journalist Rohit Vyas on incoming Biden-Harris administration agenda and more in New Jersey. Ekal Vidyalaya Foundation raises record $6.5 million feature of India Virtual Gala 2020. Mayor Sadaf Jaffer on surging coronavirus cases and US politics, Montgomery Township, New Jersey. It's time for a short break. Stay with us in Vision of Asia, South Asian News segment. We'll be right back. And welcome back. I'm Vidyalaya and this is Vision of Asia, Wednesday night episode of South Asian News. Taking a look at politics now, President Donald Trump has cleared the way for President-elect Joe Biden's transition team to use federal resources and get classified briefings, although President Trump yet has to formally concede the race and continues to file legal battles in key states. On that, the nation's highest court, the Supreme Court, has refused to block Pennsylvania from formalizing Biden's victory there and rejected a request to hear an argument that the state's 2019 expansion of mail-in voting was illegal and stated that there was no election fraud. Meanwhile, yesterday, President-elect Biden unveiled key health team members and outlined his priorities in combating COVID-19, which includes universal mask wearing, vaccinations, and getting kids safely back in schools. He also formally introduced retired Army General Lloyd Austin as his Secretary of Defense nominee, whose confirmation process will kick off early next week. If confirmed, retired Army General Lloyd Austin would make history as the first Black Secretary of Defense to lead the Pentagon. More on this and the South Asian American Voice, we spoke with ITV Gold's senior political commentator, Mr. Rohit Vyas. Here is what Mr. Rohit Vyas had to say on the ongoing transition process and the path moving forward. You know, when you're looking at the nomination, I have to ask you, giving Dr. Anthony Fauci such a respected role, do you think he's made it clear that he is going to follow science and scientists above anything else when it comes to coronavirus?
Yes, he said that himself. He has said we're going to follow the science, and they're doing that. In fact, for their inauguration, we have reports out today from the head of the the inaugural committee, that's Representative James Clyburn, who has already said, he's the House Majority Leader, by the way, and House Majority Whip. And he announced today that the inauguration, for instance, is going to be 80% virtual.
Right.
Okay, now why is that? It's because Joe Biden believes in the science. The science says we better mask up, we better not be congregating together in public spaces, we better avoid that. Even if you're masked up, do not get together in public spaces in such huge numbers because the risk of spreading the pandemic is more so. And so that shows you that he's absolutely ready to follow the science and scientists. And he is not going to interfere, and he will not allow any of his political allies to interfere with the process of science, which is a very good good sign for science. Scientists should be applauding this, and I'm sure they are, because they know that Joe Biden's going to leave them alone to their expertise. And his invitation to Anthony Fauci to come on board and continue with him as his chief medical advisor is an illustration of that fact. He has enormous respect for Dr. Fauci. He has said so all along, and he has now shown it even further. And Dr. Fauci, at least for the longest time, at least for the first few months of this crisis we're in, was probably the most popular man in America. Yeah. So whether they were Trump supporters or anti-Trump people, Dr. Fauci was the one person who seemed to be the unifier for everyone. And because he was the scientist that came into everyone's homes, into their living rooms, from the broadcasts at the White House during the Corona Task Force hearing. And I think it was a great choice. And I think it's reflective of Vice President-elect Biden's belief in science, yes.
Yes, and Dr. Fauci also has served for several administrations, both for Republican and Democratic presidents. So I think it's very interesting to see him have so much faith in him, and we hope the best for that. Meanwhile...
Yeah, Dr. Fauci goes all the way back to President Reagan.
Yeah.
It's a long time. He's been around a long time, yeah.
Yes, he's been trusted because he follows the science, and that's exactly what we need. Meanwhile, President Trump continues not to concede, and these lawsuits still are filing across the nation. My question to you is, could anything at this point change what's happening with these lawsuits, or are we just going to continuously see these until January 20th?
Yeah, probably going to see them continuously till January 20th. It will not change the outcome. In fact, the electors are, as we speak, being finalized. They're being nominated by each of the states. And the electorals are going to go voting the way their states voted, which means they will give 307 electoral college votes to Joe Biden, giving him the presidency, and the remainder going to Donald Trump, meaning he loses the presidency. And so he can continue. He can continue his legal options as long as he wants to, as long as he can afford them. Up to the 20th of January, he has the transition team. He has the Republican Party that has funds to support such an effort. After the 20th of January, it'll be up to the Republican Party and whoever's been funding this effort, the legal effort, to say, yeah, we'll continue, or it's a waste of money, forget about it, we won't do it anymore. Yeah. I'm sure then Donald Trump will find other avenues to discredit the election process and to continue his assertion to say that he won without any fact whatsoever, without any kind of proof whatsoever, and he will continue to allege irregularities. The long-term problem with this is it's undermining American democracy within America itself. I mean, outside the rest of the world could look at us and laugh, or still admire us and say, wow, you still made it, you had an election, and despite all this, it's all good. So there are two ways to look at it. But as far as we in the United States go, it could end up our own underestimating or compromising our own belief in our own democratic system. That's the danger of prolonging this like this. But he is within his rights not to concede. If he doesn't wish to concede, he does not have to. I mean, that's just a process. That's an honored, time-honored thing where you concede and you say, okay, I'm done. You're the president, we'll go ahead. But there's nothing in the Constitution that says that you must concede. There is nothing that says that. It's just a tradition. It's accepted by the populace, right, but he can continue whatever he wants to.
Definitely. One of the biggest proponents of President Donald Trump's alleged, call for election fraud across the nation is Rudy Giuliani, President Trump's lawyer as well, and former mayor of New York City. He right now has contracted COVID-19, and he was holding many rallies, interacting with public, going to events completely without a mask. What kind of a message is this sort of, portraying when you're looking at President Donald Trump and what's happening to Rudy Giuliani and the kind of narrative that they are trying to present or promote? What do we make of all of that?
Well, there's the proof of the pudding itself is that they didn't wear masks, they contracted the virus, and they proved science correct. Lucky for President Trump, he got a mild form of it. And it seems from what we're hearing, the reports on Rudy Giuliani's health, that he too has a mild form of COVID-19. And, good for him. Nobody wishes anyone ill, and it's a good thing. But of course, this is exactly the point. The point is that you go out, you don't wear masks, and you contract the virus. And the thing is, it's an insidious virus. It's a virus that does not care about who you are, how powerful you are, whether you're a top political leader or whether you're a small person. This virus doesn't see the difference. It's going to attack you. In some cases, it will ravage your system, leading, unfortunately, to death. In other instances, it will ravage your system, leave you with long-term terrible effects. And in yet other instances, it will not ravage you at all. It will pass right through you and do nothing. The risk is, if you want to find out, you indulge in risky behavior. And that's all they've done is illustrated what the scientists have been saying.
More on politics. President-elect Joe Biden, who takes office on January 20th, is likely to spend much of his first few months focused on the coronavirus pandemic as well as the struggling economy. This is because the nation is seeing its highest number of daily coronavirus cases as well as deaths, with hospitals in several states overwhelmed and experts predicting the situation to worsen by January 20th with the impact of holiday gatherings on COVID-19. Today, Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer met 4 members of the president-elect's economic team, including Treasury Secretary nominee Janet Yellen, and said he wanted to see commitment from them to more COVID-19 relief. President-elect Biden has also vowed to distribute 100 million coronavirus vaccines in his first 100 days and to make schools a national priority while imploring Americans to wear a mask. His Health and Human Services Secretary nominee, California Attorney General Xavier Becerra, will help oversee the government's response to the pandemic. So how do these new nominees in Joe Biden's cabinet impact us both on state and federal levels? And what are the current ramifications of COVID-19 and the economic crisis? We have now another segment of our interview with Mayor Sadaf Jaffer of the Montgomery Township in New Jersey. Discussing much on COVID-19 response situation and along with expectations from the incoming administration, here is Mayor Sadaf Jaffer. When you're looking at the next couple of months, Mayor, and you're looking at the coronavirus cases getting worse, maybe shutdowns or possible curfews impact directly on small businesses. Do you see the need of food increase through that? When we're talking about food, do you think you'll have to feed more New Jerseyans in the next coming months?
Definitely. I think that, a lot of businesses are slowly reaching the end of how much savings they might have had, or business owners. And so they are not able to keep going. A lot of people as well, as I said, have fallen behind on rent for several months. People are still continuing to lose their jobs. So I definitely believe that we will see a continuing rise in need for food assistance over the next several months. And that's why, this small effort that people can make to just wear their masks and keep each other healthy, that's for the sake of, even if all you care about is the economy, you don't care about your health. Economic health can only come from our public health. We can only have a healthy economy if people in our society are actually healthy. And so we all need to do our part to be as safe and promote healthy practices as possible.
What do you have to say when we're talking about masks, Mayor? President-elect Joe Biden has said that he hopefully will require for the first 100 days of his administration for everyone to wear the mask to really control the virus post January 20th. Your opinion on that?
I think that that's a great move. As I said, mixed messages from political leadership confuses the public because they don't know, well, some people are saying masks are effective, others are saying they aren't effective, whereas we know that every scientific organization, every medical practitioner has reiterated many times that masks are the primary way that we can try to control this virus, and that they are relatively effective. They're not perfect. And obviously we know that in some cases, even doctors do get infected, but we need to at least try. It's a main form of defense. And that sort of unity in the face of the pandemic is exactly what we need. We need to have a unified message, something that we're all working on together. And so I think that it's a great idea to lead by example. As the president, for him to say that this is something that's important, I think that will be very meaningful to many people in our country.
I have a few questions on this new incoming administration for you, but right before that, an issue that's concerning parents nationwide, the disruption in the school system. I'd like to know, how is the system working for your township, and what model in virtual versus in-person learning has worked the most for most parents?
So we're right now in all virtual, all distance learning mode. We did have hybrid for some time, but then the school district decided to go back to all virtual. Okay. It's been working well in our town. I know that it's tough. It's tough for kids. It's tough for parents to not have that interaction. But again, it is really important that we keep ourselves physically healthy. But it also has to do with people having access to internet resources, computing resources, and we are lucky that our town is relatively a wealthy community, and so we don't have so many issues of large segments of our population without connectivity, but that really is an issue of equity. And I know that there are various initiatives throughout the state of New Jersey and throughout the country to make sure that students who need access have that access. But I think that the closing of schools is really pointing out the wealth inequality that we have in this country, and making it even clearer all the work that we need to do to make sure that people have equal opportunity. Because not having internet access, for example, or not having computing resources is obviously hurting the most disadvantaged students to a greater degree than anyone else.
It's definitely so important for every child to have that access to education. How will the next semester, spring 2021, look in terms of the education system for Jersey?
Well, in our township, we are all virtual until January 19th, at least. That's what the school district has decided. So I think we have to wait and see what happens with the vaccine distribution schedules, and just how bad this wave is. It again will vary from state to state and context to context, but there's so much to balance out here. But there is hope in seeing that we do have effective vaccines that hopefully will help us emerge from this crisis.
It's time for a short break. Stay with us in Vision of Asia, Voice of the Community. We'll be right back. And welcome back. This is Vision of Asia, the South Asian news segment, and I am Aditi Lamba. Let's now take a look at Ekal Vidyalaya Foundation, ITV Gold, Parikh Worldwide Media's longtime media partner. The foundation is one of the largest grassroots-level non-government education and development movements that operates in remote rural villages of India and Nepal, with its vision to eradicate illiteracy and provide opportunities for the most underserved communities. This year, Ekal Vidyalaya has been working extra hard to tackle the coronavirus pandemic and its impact on rural India by serving more than 100,000 villages this year through raising funds from 10 regional virtual concerts and events here in the US. On that, recently, a grand virtual gala titled Future of India raised a record-setting $6.5 million in pledges and donations to the charitable organization. Showcasing support as well as promoting the cause virtually was Bollywood star Vivek Oberoi, along with former Indian cricketer Kapil Dev, as well as Indian Minister of Railways Mr. Piyush Goyal.
Ekal Vidyalaya is one of those opportunities where you're bound to see your efforts, your initiatives, see a fantastic return. I always say that this is, not an opportunity for donors, but it's an opportunity for investors. Because I believe that investing with Ekal is a karmic investment. You're actually being able to change the lives of millions and millions of children across our nation. You're being able to strengthen them with the power of education so that they can write their own destiny. And I think that is fantastic. The karmic return on investment is unlike ever before. So my only request is push yourself a little. Take that first step. Get involved with ACRE. Trust me, this is an amazing, inclusive, crazy family of 300,000 volunteers.
Bringing health services to the last mile is an important goal for Ekal Arogya. Advancement in telemedicine has opened up new avenues to bring quality healthcare to Ekal villages. Ekal hires local women and trains them to be Arogya Sevikas or community health workers. They are trained to provide education on health and hygiene to the villagers and promote a healthy lifestyle. The Sevikas are trained to use a mobile phone-based telemedicine toolkit. The toolkit helps triage common ailments. Villagers who need better attention are connected to a doctor using video conferencing, and then prescription is provided.
From locally available medicines and herbs, Ekal is promoting a healthy lifestyle. Not only that, people are also benefiting from the traditional Indian medicinal systems of Ayurveda. Through its various tree plantation programs, water body rejuvenation programs, and through its personal hygiene and waste segregation awareness camps, Ekal's dream of a clean and healthy India is slowly turning into reality. Be assured that as long as Ekal is in existence, the colors, vibrations, and all the foundational elements of India are protected and preserved.
So Egal Vidyalaya is running on over 100,000 villages and about 2 million students. How do you see engaging sports or cricket on these villages to get them more active and probably get the next Kapil Dev out of those villages? What is your opinion?
I think it's very important for the village, giving them opportunity to play. And the education is the most important. I still believe that, and I feel that. And in villages, if we can change the thought process of teaching in a way when you are learning, you should enjoy yourself, have a fun. And like sports is a fun, education should be fun, and that's the way I look at it. And I hope in small villages they give the opportunity to the young boys. Recently, a young boy, Natarajan, come from a very small, humble background, and he represent the country because he got opportunity to play. And that's what I think all of you and all of us put together have to give a chance to all the young boys and girls.
छोड़ो सजना मोहे छोड़ो हाय सजना दिया सी सुधाए सजना दिया सी सुधाए उठाए सजना दिया सी सुधाए सजना रहा मोहे मैया ना धरो ना करो मुझसे मैया ना.
And this is all for tonight's show. Please send us your suggestions and get your voices and organizations on our show. Email us on events@itvgold.com or follow us on Facebook at itvgold. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch many of our popular shows for free. Thank you for joining us tonight from Queens, New York. This is Vision of Asia and I am Aditi Lamba. Take care and be well.